There's seemingly never been more doom and gloom around the music industry than there is right now. What with the rise of AI and just the fact about how little streaming platforms pay you and just how much competition there is and how it feels almost impossible to stand out as a music artist. It feels like it is virtually impossible to actually make a living from your music unless you're someone like Taylor Swift and just a huge famous person. But the reality is more indie artists than ever are going full-time and making a living from their music than ever before, and now is still the very best time to be an indie music artist. And so to try and help shed some light on this and give you sort of a path forward on how you can actually go about making some income and potentially even going full-time with music. So in this video, I'm going to share with you the 10 most profitable ways to make money from your music right now. Hey, I'm Reagan Ram with OrpheusAudioAcademy.com, and I am also a full-time music producer and music artist. And so what I'm going to be sharing with you, a lot of this is my own experience and also what I've observed from talking to other artists and just seeing the results that they've shared themselves. So there'll be a bunch of case studies and examples included in this video as well. And my final tip that I'm going to share in this video is really remarkable. It's not just clickbait, oh, you'll never believe number 10. No, it's really good. So please watch all the way to the end, because that final tip is what's going to help you scale to 6 and even 7 figures and beyond. So stay tuned. So stream number 1 is something that we're all familiar with, and that is streaming. I know probably a lot of people just rolled their eyes right now because it feels absolutely impossible to make money from streaming. And on my last episode, I got some negative comments related to this on what I was sharing about streaming. So I got this comment from Party Marty 6969. He says, "It's sad you're supporting Spotify. Every stream on Spotify generates 100 pennies or $1. No, that's actually not true. But Spotify keeps 99.6 pennies out of the 100 pennies from one stream. Again, not true. 70 pennies go to major labels, even if they're not signed to a major label. Not true. 29.6 pennies goes to Spotify. I see what they're getting at. I'll explain later how Spotify actually pays and all that works. And the remainder goes to the artist, which is less than 1 penny from the 100 pennies generated from one stream." And I explain that's not how Spotify works. I still need to respond to his comments, which I do appreciate. I appreciate every comment, even the ones that push back and have a different opinion. So I really appreciate that. We'll explain how Spotify royalties work instead. That's what this video is. I'm actually just reading this now for the first time. He says, "I bought at Spotify for 8 years and made 0.004 per stream the whole time, so I understand the payment system. Botting Spotify is my protest against Spotify until they implemented AI into their platform. No, I don't use it at all." So right away, they're showing that they're kind of a nefarious character if they were intentionally using bots to try and steal from Spotify. So I understand if they're having some issues. That is definitely black hat, definitely unethical, really bad idea. Don't use bots. And I guess you got upset because I haven't responded fast enough. Oh, it's fun. It's fun. That's not how streaming works. How does Spotify actually pay? Well, they use a pro rata model, which is fancy Latin for in proportion. So there's a big pie of all the revenue that Spotify makes. So Spotify takes 30%, and then the other 70% is all pooled together and distributed according to proportion. So whatever proportion of the Spotify streaming pie that you're responsible for with your streams, you get a proportionate level of royalties. So how much you make per stream is actually going to vary based on how many streams you're generating. If you generate more revenue for Spotify, you're going to get a larger cut. So this is known as stream share, and that's your share of the streams determines what you actually get paid. So in general, you can expect somewhere between $0.003 to $0.005 per stream, so a fraction of a cent. And so say you want to make $1,000 a month from streaming, which I think is a pretty reasonable target for most independent artists. And right, this is just 1 out of 10 streams. So I said that in my last video. I don't recommend making Spotify your number one all-in focus on how you're making a full-time income from your music. Now, there are people doing that. In fact, I point out to my friends, so you can complain all you want, but I have a friend who went full-time and made a living from music just from Spotify streams alone. So it is possible. It's very hard, right? Also depends on different things like genre and so on. And you have to be able to run ads. And that's a whole other topic. So anyway, but most people could probably get to the point where it's a nice stream of income. It's not like making all of your income. It's not paying all your bills, but it can still be a nice stream of income, because it's something I advocate, is having multiple streams of income for your music. And so if you wanted to get to 1,000 a month streaming, this depends on how many songs you have on Spotify and how many streams each song is getting per day or per month, whatever. So if you had 20 songs on Spotify, you would need each song to generate 417 streams per day to generate $1,000 a month. 50 songs, you need 167 streams per day per song. 100 songs, you only need 83 streams per day per song to make $1,000 a month. Now we're saying it gets a little bit more reasonable. So if you build up your catalog, which who doesn't want to do that anyway? I don't know why people push back when I talk about that. Don't you love making music? If you're a music artist, don't you want to have tons of music to put out? I remember that's something I just did for fun back when I was just like a kid making music. Was I would just create all these like imaginary albums, and they'd have all these different concepts and what the song titles would be on each album, all these songs I wanted to release. I never actually did any of that because I was too scared to release music, but I always have wanted to release tons of music because I love making music and I make lots of music. So anyway, if you build up that catalog, which I think we all want to do anyway, it makes it easier and easier to make money because you have that catalog that builds on itself, and you need fewer streams per song to make what you want to make. And of course, if you go crazy, you got 300 quality songs out there on Spotify, you're getting them on playlists, maybe you're running some ads, maybe you're building up an audience that you're sending people back to your music for, then you only need 28 streams per day per song to make $1,000 a month. Obviously, that's crazy. That could take you years and years, maybe a decade to get to that money, depending on how many songs you're releasing. But you can see there is some money to be made here from streaming. And so probably the sweet spot for most artists, and what I've heard a lot of them say when they talk about making consistent, decent money from Spotify, is they talk about getting to, at least 100 songs in your catalog, 80 to 100. I think that's what, like Roos, when he blew up. Now, of course, he's probably an exception, but he just released a song a week for like 2.5 years before he blew up, went platinum and everything. But he was just an indie artist releasing music. And I think he was around 80 to 100 songs when he finally blew up on Spotify. And that also plays into another concept I talk about on this channel, which is the idea of speed and being prolific, because that's how you get to quality. If you're repeating and fine-tuning your process over and over again, over time at scale, you're going to get way better. So that could be part of it too. He just released so much music, and so consistently that he grew his skills so much faster over time, so that by the end, he was releasing really good music. So it did really well and got lots of streams. Now, when it comes to streaming and getting your music onto music streaming platforms, the best music distributor out there is Lander, and this is the one I've used. I've used several of them, and Lander is one I've found to be the absolute best. Number one is because you can upload unlimited music for a very small fee, or if you don't like subscriptions, you can also pay per release, which gives you incredible flexibility, and you keep 100% of your royalties. You also get extras that companies will charge you more for example, YouTube Content ID. It also is the easiest and most affordable platform for doing cover songs, as you just pay $15 one time, and all the legal stuff is handled for you when it comes to cover songs. You're not having to pay $12 every single year for a single cover song like you do with DistroKid. Other platforms, they don't provide any cover song services for you, so you have to go and hunt down the license yourself, which you can do with Lander if you choose to, but they also just make it so easy for you. And your music stays up forever. You can cancel at any time, and your music doesn't get taken down like on these other platforms. It just reverts to an 85%, 15% split, where Lander takes 15% and you get to keep 85% of the royalties. So far and away, the best music distributor out there right now. And you can actually get 20% off your first year when you use my affiliate link. Just go to orpheusaudioacademy.com/Lander to get started. So we're going to another case study here. This is my friend Nico, goes by Jend on Spotify. I mentioned him in the last video as well, and done interviews with him. He's just a really great example because he's an independent artist, no label. He's had labels in the past, but those didn't go well, which we talked about in our interviews. But anyway, as of the recording of this video, he had over 1 million monthly listeners and makes a full-time income as an independent artist. And so his strategy is he releases music every 4 to 6 weeks. And again, people lose their minds over that. Like, oh, what about quality? That's so much. That's only like 12 songs a year. That's like 1 album a year. That's not crazy. And then you want to run meta ads to then promote your songs. And we go over this. I'll have linked below where he goes into detail on what his ad strategy is. I have a whole video on that. And then those ads get people into his ecosystem to get him to get over to Spotify, listening to his music. And playlist promotion is also part of his strategy, not only getting his songs onto other people's playlists through tools like SubmitHub, but he also builds up his own Spotify playlist, runs ads to those, and uses those so that whenever time he has a new song out, he adds it to his own playlist that he owns and controls and has technically Spotify does, but he has access to run it, and then he puts them on that playlist. They get tons of streams. The algorithm sees that, and then his music gets put into the algorithmic playlist, which is where the real money is at. And consistency, not the editorial playlist like everyone wants. You basically are building your own editorial playlist. The other cool thing is he makes like $1,000 a month, I think he said, just from his playlist alone. Not even the streams he gets, but because you can then sign up for Submit Hub and these other platforms, and then artists will pay for you to listen to their music. Get paid just to listen to music, and then if you like it, you can add it to your playlist. And that's how he makes another really nice chunk of income on the side right there. So the streaming game, there definitely can be money that is to be made if you're consistent and you treat it like a business. And so you also, a key part of your strategy is focusing on the first 48 hours, because once your song is first released, that's when Spotify is really paying attention and saying, how well is this song doing? And if you give it lots of positive metrics like streams, like people listening for longer than 30 seconds, not skipping, not disliking, they add it to a playlist, they like it, save it, all those positive indicators, then it's really going to boost the song and make it more likely to get put into those algorithmic playlists like Discover Weekly, different things like that. So this is just a crash course. If you want more details on how to implement this and how to actually start making $1,000 a month just from streaming, then grab my free ebook, Spotify Secrets. You can see the URL right there on the screen and how to get that. I'll also have that linked in the description. And this will show you how you can go about triggering the Spotify algorithm so you can actually start generating streams, fans, and income from your music. So completely free. So it takes us to stream number 2, and that is performance rights. So how do these work? So performance rights, these are when your music is publicly performed or broadcast, your owned money when this happens, even if you weren't physically performing live. So for example, this includes things like radio airplay. This would be like TV shows, movies, ads, live concerts, bars, restaurants, clubs, even like stores, hotels, gyms, and other businesses. Anywhere where your music is played, you are owed royalties. And so to collect these, you just sign up for a performance rights organization or a pro, and these are completely free to sign up for. I use ASCAP. You can see the different countries, the different ones that are available to you. And so this is really easy. Anytime you release a song, just make sure you register it with your performance rights organization, and then they'll track down when your song is used and pay you. And I've actually been paid this way. I'm like, wow, me, like as a small artist, like that's crazy. That's not even promoting my music. Like my music was getting used and now it's getting paid. So that was pretty cool. And so this is definitely something that's really easy to do, and you don't want to miss this because you could be leaving income on the table. And so I'm planning on doing a video soon actually on how to actually upload to ASCAP. I'll have that. Hopefully I remember to link that in the description below after this goes live. If not, just subscribe to the channel so you can get that. And so if you want to get your music on the radio, you can use my link to get access to the tool radiopromo.io. Just go to orpheusaudioacademy.com/radio, and it will take you to this website. And what this will do is it will actually give you you can search on radio stations that play music of artists that are similar to you, and then it will give you the contact information for the people at that radio station so you can submit your music to them and start getting radio airplay. And isn't that, not only is that great for just exposure for you and your music, but if you're registered with a pro, you should be able to also earn some performance rights royalties from airplay. All right, so stream number 3 is digital products and coaching. This is a big thing that a lot of music artists overlook. And so this is something I do. I sell courses and coaching packages on production and mixing. And this is something that you can do as well. So there's different things you can offer. So you could offer like genre specific teaching. So for example, I have done tutorials on how to make synthwave music. And so I have a full course training that people can sign up for on how to make synthwave music. So if you're like a hip hop artist, you can, you're making your music, but then on YouTube or something, you can do tutorials on how you make your music and then offer like a whole course that someone can sign up for and purchase on how to go and make hip hop music the way you do. You could really teach about anything: songwriting, production, mixing, how to play whatever instrument it is that you play, how to sing, or literally just about anything else, even if it's not related to music. If it's just somehow related to your music brand, which is a big thing I'm going to talk about in the future on this channel as I'm getting ready to really launch my music career in earnest. I have a music career. I mean, the artist path versus the creator path. I'm getting ready to go down the artist path, and the difference between these two paths I talk about in my previous video. I'll have that link below. But anyway, if you have a strong brand, you can really sell anything that's related to that. So a good example of this is Erica Mason. So she's a music artist, makes a full-time living. I don't know how much she makes. I know it's over 6 figures, I've heard. But Together We Heal is what she has on the front page of her website. Like, what does that have to do with music? Well, she says healing is a process and you don't have to do it alone. My music will help you unlock your best self. So I'm guessing her whole music brand is kind of revolves around inner healing or something like that. And so that's kind of what you want. You want to have this really strong music brand, and your music just ties into that. And so that's what she does with her music. And so she will sell events to her live tour where she does like healing events as well as performance music, I believe. And she also will then offer people even more things during this tour, which I'll talk about later in this video. And so this is what we're going to try and do too with our band Andromeda Coast, my wife and I. And so we're also kind of going down that inner healing kind of route. Probably going at a different angle than Erica does with our band Andromeda Coast. We've already kind of started doing that. We've kind of created videos on our channel. Like this is a thumbnail example of one of them, explaining my wife's journey and how she's got healing from a lot of just horrific things that happened in her past that happened to her. And then, so we're going to talk about that, healing from trauma and abuse. Eventually we'd like to even talk about like marriage and family and spirituality and tie that all into our music, like have our music deal with that and make that all as part of our brand. And so then feasibly we could sell products related to anything around that we're creating on our YouTube channel as part of our music brand. But I call it an experiment because I'm definitely not a guru. I'm a fellow traveler. I am just kind of documenting my journey here as I'm sharing more content related to actually making money from music. So we'll see how this goes. That's why I'm trying to give more examples of other people who have actually done it. So stream 4 is merch. So obviously most of us know about this. You can sell merch. And a really great tool for this is Printful. I've actually used this for over a decade, and they create really great on-demand merch. So you don't have to have a big inventory. You just design the product, you list it on your website, and then someone can buy, and then Printful handles the printing and the shipping for you. You don't have to handle any of that. So here's what Printful looks like. You can sell men's clothing, women's clothing, kids and youth, accessories. We can go to home and living here. You can see all the different stuff you got available. Mugs, notebooks, stickers, water bottles, stationery, all kinds of stuff. Of course, we got your clothing, your hats. Actually, that's actually where I got this hat from, Printful. It's Andromeda Coast. I've gotten lots of stuff from Printful over the years. And so you can see, once you start getting orders, this is what it looks like. So these are orders that I've generated in the past from my online stores, and you make money. Pretty straightforward. And so once you build up that loyal following of fans, they're going to want merch, and that's another great way to monetize. That takes us to income stream number 5, which is fan clubs and memberships, or memberships, whatever you want to call it. So a fan membership is just where fans are paying you every month to support your work in exchange for more exclusive content or access to you. And so this could be like Patreon, Gumroad, there's a bunch of them. Street Team is what I'm getting started with. I'm still building out my community and what my products and what my offerings are, and I'll be sharing more about that on this channel as well. And so it's a good idea to have multiple tiers, right? You can have like bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond. You can create your own names for these, but this is kind of an example of what that looks like, from like a really affordable tier all the way up to like a super high-end level tier for your most rabid fans. And so what are things then that you can offer to people in your membership? Well, the key is to offer things that you're already doing so it isn't more work for you. So this could be like early access. So you've already created the song, the content, whatever. They just get access to it before anyone else. That's not any extra work for you. Behind the scenes content. So while you're doing stuff, just I guess film yourself. So that's not any extra work. You could list the supporter name in your video so they're getting recognition. That's a big thing. Just getting recognition is really valuable to people. Having a community, that's no extra work for you, but just a community where your fans can interact with each other, get to know each other. You can offer merch discounts. Again, no extra work for you. Just they get cheaper, more affordable deals on your merch. Voting power. So that could be on like artwork or what song to do next. Really anything you're doing in your music business. people that are in your community, they get the ability to vote on things. So they feel like they are shaping your brand, or they're a part of what you're doing. They have that power. This could be exclusive content or merch. So this might be a little bit extra, for you, but not too hard to do, especially if you're getting those people paying you extra, making a lot of extra money per month. It could be group video chats you could offer as well. You could let them even join you in your studio for those really high-end paying fans. They can actually come to your studio or something and do something in person where they actually get to interact with you. And so I debated whether or not I should even include this in this video, but I just had to comment on this. So one of my most favorite bands of all time, like going back to before I even started making synthwave music, before I even started making music, period, is the band Stars. They're a Canadian band, and this is their Patreon. So they've got these 3 tiers here: $5 a month, $10 a month, and $25 a month. But you can see they say here, we do not have tiers. We have one membership. We don't believe if you have more money, you should have more access. We are socialists. Oh boy. What they're basically saying is we're not going to offer any extra value, but we will take more of your money. So first off, they're not socialists because they are selling stuff and setting their own prices. Sorry for the typo there. So for it to be socialism, the government, or at least their fans in this case, would have to control the means of production and the distribution of their music and products. So all their revenue should go to the government instead of directly to them. And the government would determine how much they get, and other people would get a share of their money too. So that's equitable and fair, even though they're the ones doing the work. They're giving you the ability to pay more, so they'll take more money from you, but won't offer more value in exchange, which I think is kind of pathetic. So they end up giving less value overall, which isn't that social. Sorry if this is like offending people, because I know kind of socialism is in vogue, but it's basically if everyone can't have it, then no one can, because that's what socialism does. Like, yes, there's somewhat less income inequality, although the elites that are running everything are going to be super filthy rich. But it makes everyone equal in the sense that everyone's poor, and it can't create anything new. In the end, it's really just jealousy in disguise. But I don't know. I'm probably gonna get more unsubscribers for this. I keep getting people I keep offending people in my content recently because of my personal views that I'm sharing in my videos nowadays. But whatever. I don't think you should be like this. If you're going to be charging people more, give them more value. And again, this is not attacking Stars. I absolutely love Stars, love their music. They're a fantastic band. They are Canadian, so they'll probably apologize to me. So I just thought that was funny. So then I put these numbers into Perplexity and asked them to kind of give me some numbers on how much are they making and how many people do they have in each tier based on data from Patreon and marketing and all that stuff. So it says data from large Patreon analyses shows that most creators have the majority supporters at their lowest tier. That seems pretty obvious, with diminishing percentages as the prices rise. So estimated breakdown for Stars, again, this is completely just a wild guess. So it could be completely, way off, but it's probably somewhere in the ballpark of these ranges. So given that they have 986 total paying members, applying those averages gives you about so on, blah, 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 blah. So they're making probably about $8,575 a month. So that is a really good, predictable source of income, which is why fan clubs and memberships are huge. It's a really good idea. Of course, Patreon also takes an 8% cut there. This is kind of setting up, again, stream number 10 that I'm going to talk about later. This is kind of setting that up, but it's something I want to you to kind of, as an aside, to kind of just keep in mind here. And that's the 80-20 rule, or the Pareto principle. And that's that 80% of all results come from 20% of efforts. And if you can just get this to sink in, it will really change your life. And so, for example, 20% of customers generate 80% of the profits. And you can flip that as well. So 80% of your customers are only going to generate 20% of your profits, or 80% of your fans are only going to generate 20% of your streams, or whatever. Also, a lot of times it's like 20% of people cause you 80% of your problems, or 20% of your customers generate 80% of the complaints, or whatever. And so who are you focusing your effort on? Are you going to try and just please the masses, or maybe you should cater your music brand around towards best serving as best you can, rather than having your efforts and your time and your attention be diluted, to just focus on those 20% of people that are going to give you the 80% of your results and serve them as best you can. It doesn't mean you don't still have products or other things for the 80%, but your focus should be on that 20%. Another example is like 20% of your time leads to 80% of your productivity, and the other 80% of your time only gives you 20%. So 20% of patients use up 80% of healthcare resources. Another example is 20% of your songs will probably generate 80% of your streams. These aren't exact numbers. It can vary. A lot of people say it's more like 90-10. So it's just a general principle. And then there's a way you can hack this as well when it comes to your music business. And that's the 80-20 rule applied to the 80-20 rule, or Paretoception. And so this is, you take 20% of 20, which is 4. So then we end up with the 64-4 rule, which means 64% of your results are going to come from just 4% of your efforts. So that's how you can do this even more effectively. And think about, what are the 4% of tasks? What are the 4% of things I can be doing with my music business to generate 64% of the results? So that's something you can really spend some time thinking about, because in general, 64% of your results come from a mere 4% of your efforts in your inputs. So I had this different pricing model. If we applied this to stars, and we applied the idea that 64% of your results roughly come from 4% of your inputs, then they'd be making actually closer to $12,000 a month versus what did we say it was? 8,000? So it's about $8,500. So they could be making a whole lot of money, an extra $3,375 a month or something, if they had higher price tiers available and offered more value. That's an extra over $40,000 a year. So I think a better example of this is the band First to 11. So they have a very similar pricing structure here. They have a $1 a month, $5.50 a month. They're kind of basing everything around 11 because they're the band First to 11. $11 a month, $22 a month, and $50 a month. They don't have the $500 a month, but I'm sure they have other things they offer for a more premium pricing point. So I won't spend too much time going through this, but you can also see all the different things they offer under each tier. And they have a ton of members of their Patreon. They have 1,988 patron members across those 5 tiers. And so again, using Perplexity to kind of give me estimates on how many people they have signed up at each level, this estimates that they're making around $15,000 a month just from their Patreon. So that's some serious money right there. By the way, if you found this valuable so far, go ahead and hit that like button so that I know to create more content like this, because if everyone hates it, then I guess I'll just stop and create something different. So if you'd like to learn more about how to create and sell from fan clubs and memberships specifically as well, go ahead and leave a comment. So stream number 6 is services. So this is another thing you can offer, music services. So this could be things like songwriting, production, vocals. You can offer your vocal talents, vocal editing, mixing, mastering. So that's another way you can monetize, is just offering your talents, stuff you're already good at, offering those as services to people and charging for them. So then how do you go about selling your services? Well, you can start off by setting up a website where you show off your services, give some examples, say what you offer, and then you simply invite people to email you to discuss the details. Some people list their prices, which is fine, but if you invite people to email you, you can really have more of a back and forth, figure out what their budget is, and not constrain yourself to a certain price point. You can also drive traffic to your site through ads or creating free content, again, like YouTube or Instagram or social media. And then really, that can take some time. If you really want to make some money more quickly, DM people who match your ideal client. So figure out who your ideal client is. So for me, I make synthwave music, so I would want to be reaching out to synthwave artists. And this is something also I'm thinking of documenting on my channel, on this channel here. So if you want to see that, again, hit like or subscribe or whatever, so I know that's something you want to see. And you look them up on Instagram or other platforms, and you just start conversations with them and figure out, hey, who did your mixing? Who did your production? And say, hey, I really like that. And maybe you, when you're starting out, offer them something for free. Like, hey, I'd happy to do a free master, or hey, I'd happy to do a vocal remix of your track or something, just so they can see what you can do. And then from there, they might want to hire you in the future to do work for them. So again, if you want me to go more in depth with this, I'm thinking of creating content where I actually document my journey, attempting to land more music service clients. And let me know in the comments below if that's something you'd like to see me do on this channel. All right, stream number 7 is affiliate revenue. And so just what is affiliate revenue? Well, this is where you earn commissions for sharing and talking about other people's products that you already use and love. So super easy to do. So this could be like plugins, courses, music distributors, etc. Just any products that have an affiliate program that you use and love and is something that you think your audience would also be interested in, you can promote these. And so I made over $15,000 just from affiliate income in the past calendar year. And so how do you do this effectively? Almost every company has an affiliate program these days. And so you can sign up for these. You can find them on their website usually. And if not, you can usually contact them and ask them, hey, do you have an affiliate program? And then you simply use and talk about their products in your content and then include your affiliate link. And it's even better if you can offer someone a bonus for using your link specifically instead of just going to the website, if that's like a discount, or maybe you offer a bonus product of your own if they use your link. And so another kind of really cool one that anyone can do is the Amazon Influencer Program, as I earned over $7,000 from this just in the past calendar year. Now there are some caveats to this I'll mention. And so after like creating a video or reviewing a product, right, it could be like microphones, whatever, I then just upload that product to Amazon and tag the product, and then that video will show up on the product page. And if anyone watches that video and then buys, I'll earn a commission. And so that's how I made a decent amount of money there. There are some drawbacks out, because to be fair, I had to create tons and tons of videos for Amazon, and I created videos that weren't just music products, just a whole bunch of random stuff like products around my house. Companies started reaching out to me and paying me to create videos, video posts. So if that's not for you, don't bother with this, because I ended up creating like over 600 videos. So it's definitely a lot of work, but they're like short videos, just like a couple minutes. And then you also, a lot of times links will become outdated. So you might have to check and update your links to make sure they're still up to date. But beyond that, once your videos are up, then it's kind of just passive income. And so I haven't really done any more of that for months now, and I still make money every month from Amazon. So that's one thing you can do. And you don't need any audience or anything for that. You can get started right away. So you have to be approved. You usually do have to have some kind of following. So never mind. I forgot about that. You can always apply and see what happens. All right. So stream number 8 is sponsorship deals. This is another great source of income that you can do as a music artist or musician. And so this is where a brand or company pays you to make content about their product. So I've made nearly $10,000 from sponsorship deals in the past calendar year for many different brand partnerships with many different companies. And so how do these work? Well, as you grow, you'll start getting companies contacting you on their own, or you can even reach out to them yourself and pitch to companies yourself. And you want to only take deals from companies and products that you actually use and love. Again, if you don't think it's something very good, don't recommend it. And also if it's not something you think your audience would like, definitely don't recommend it to them. So like, don't do like shampoo companies or something, because I don't think that would be relevant to music artists if that's your avatar, unless like your music brand revolves around like fashion or beauty or something like that. You could potentially do that. You could have shampoo companies promoting their products or something. I mean, I've seen, apparently there's like AI avatars that are like recommending their skincare routine, which is crazy because they don't have skin. Anyway, it's a crazy world. Stream number 9 is ad revenue. This is kind of a small one, just kind of an aside, but this is another way to make money. But it only really works or only really applies if you're building up a YouTube channel, which I highly recommend for any music artist. Even if you're only doing the artist path, you should have a YouTube channel because you're putting your music up there. It's a great way to get exposure, but also you can earn ad revenue from that. So how do you get monetized? So on YouTube, you have to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time in the past 12 months, or 10 million shorts views in the last 90 days. So if you can achieve one of those two things, then you can get monetized. And so every time someone watches your video and ads are played, you get a small cut of that ad revenue. And it's not huge. It's funny. I'll get people who know me asking like, how much money are you making from your YouTube channel now? Like asking about specifically the YouTube income, which is like one of my smallest income streams. And so they're always disappointed when I tell them I think I'm not, But anyway, I only made about $3,000 from YouTube ad revenue in the last calendar year. So roughly around $242 a month averaged out. So not huge, but it's also not nothing. And so if I got more views, I would make more money. So for example, this is that band First to 11. You can see their total views. Now this tool that I'm using seems to be inaccurate. Like you can see it's saying they're not getting any views except for one day where they got nearly 8 million views. So I don't know what's going on with this tool, but this is saying their estimated monthly earnings are $9,000 to $29,000 a month. Again, a huge range, but if you, and this is only if you have, like they have almost 2 million subscribers. So that's probably not likely for a lot of people. That's really hard to do and takes a long time. But you know, if you're got a lot of music out there, you're putting out covers that people are actually searching for, those can get lots of streams or lots of views on YouTube. And you can start to make a decent, you know, stream of income just from YouTube ad revenue. And there's other ways you can monetize too that could lead to like super chats or super thanks, live streams where you can make money, different things like that. Channel memberships, that kind of goes into fan clubs. So the point is that YouTube is another stream of income that is available to you as a music artist. All right, this finally takes me to stream number 10. This is the big one, Majesty offers, what I call Majesty offers. Other people call these high ticket offers. My friend Michael Walker with Modern Musician calls this diamond offers, different terms for these, but basically just selling something that's really expensive to, again, Pareto's principle, Paretoception, those top like 4% of your audience that are just rabid fans and also have the money and are willing and able to really go far with you in your music. So what are these? So these are what can really allow you to go full time or even make 6 and 7 figures and beyond with your music brand. And so everyone, or every music artist out there offers streaming and merch. That's kind of boring, but this is a huge way you can stand out and really be unique with your Majesty offer. You can provide more value and more connection than anyone else out there. So some examples of these, it could be basically what you're doing is you're selling an experience to your fans for $5,000 plus. And you could do $1,000, $2,000. That's kind of in the Majesty offer range, but you can also go up to $5,000, $10,000 and beyond. And so this could be like a wellness or music retreat where multiple people come and like you do some kind of in-person event around something connected to your music brand. This could be they get to spend a day with you in your studio while you write and record. Maybe I've even heard of artists like taking those top fans on like a luxury cruise, going on a luxury cruise with your fans. So can you imagine that? Like now apply, like if you think who would do this with me, well, pause for a second and think about who's your favorite music artist? Who's your favorite band? And what if you could go on a cruise with them? What if you could go on some kind of wellness retreat with them or some kind of adventure, some kind of experience, or even spend a day with them in their studio? So when you start thinking that way, you can really start to get the gears turning and get some cool ideas. And that's, of course, really going to help you stand out because who else offers something like that? And in the end, right, you ask your fans, what would they like? And that's how you can create the best offers. And so in the end, the internet is very shallow, right? You can get shallowly connected to a lot of people, but it's hard to go deep. And especially with music artists, and like Spotify puts a wall between you, the artist, and your fans, right? There's no way to get in contact with the people that are streaming your music on Spotify. And also this level of connection is how you can beat AI. Everyone's worried about AI, saying this is the end of music producers, this is the end of music artists. But if you're just competing in terms of quality, yeah, maybe AI eventually will get to the point where they're making music that's just as good, or maybe even better than what a lot of humans can do. But humans want to connect with other humans. And so if you can create experiences and connection, actually go deep and build relationships with your fans, that's always going to beat out AI. And so you can connect much deeper with your fans by taking them off these digital platforms and getting them into your community. Now that might be a digital platform too, but at least has a higher level of connection where you can actually communicate back and forth with people. And then also getting them to interact with you live, maybe do like live performances. Now, again, they're interacting with you in a real live setting. And of course, then doing these Majesty offers where you're actually in person. So this is really the number one best way to make a living as an artist, because $0.004 per stream, you would need 1,250,000 streams to make $5,000. That's a lot of people. Or with a Majesty offer priced at $5,000, you only need to sell to one person. So you don't need a huge audience, right? We've all heard, most of us have probably heard the Kevin Kelly, I think, concept of 1,000 true fans, right? You get 1,000 people paying you $100 a year. That is, right, you get 100 people paying you, you get 1,000 people paying you $100 a year. you're a 6-figure music artist. But it's really even more stark than that. What if you got 100 people paying you $1,000 a year? Now you only need to get 100 true fans. So this is just taking that concept and putting it on steroids, basically. So then how do you sell Majesty offers? Well, I'm not really a great source on this because I've not sold any of these myself. This is just something I'm seeing other music artists start to do. And a lot of other people in the marketing world start to talk about this as kind of the way that things are trending in. So I'll just share with you what I've been learning about this, and then I'm going to start to create my own and report back to you and see what happens. So what you want to do is you, number one, want to create an irresistible offer that resonates with your fans and makes them put it on their bucket list. Also, shout out to modern musician Michael Walker. They're where I learned a lot of this from. So you want to create some kind of incredible offer that really resonates with your fans and makes them want to put that on their bucket list. So even if they can't afford it, they're like, that is so cool. That's on my bucket list. One day I want to have the money to be able to do that experience with my favorite music artist. Number two is to create a streamlined application process that converts, hit the space bar, interest into sales. And then you also then want to create a live stream environment. So that live environment is going to build that connection more and build that relationship more. And that's what's going to allow you to be able to sell a Majesty offer to them, is having that better environment, that live stream environment. And so this is something I am learning and going to be experimenting with. So be sure to subscribe because I'm hoping to eventually get my vlog series out. I've been so busy, but I'm hoping to start getting some videos out, kind of just documenting my journey as I'm launching my music artist career. And so if that's something you want to see, again, hit like, hit subscribe, so I know that's something you want to see on this channel. None of this works if you're not making and publishing great music. This is what it all comes back to, and why I talk so much about this on this channel, about how to do this, why I need to be publishing and creating music. And so if you want help with this, I'm going to be doing what I call my effortless music challenge. You can go to orpheusaudioacademy.com/EMC and you can sign up for this live 5-day challenge where I'll walk you through how you can produce high quality pro music faster than ever, so you can really start to get your music career off the ground and building momentum. So if you want to learn more about it, just click the link in the description below or go to the URL on the screen. All right, so Lana, let me know in the comment section below which one of these 10 income streams is most appealing to you, or something that you want to learn more about, and I'll be sure to create more content on that. And if you want to get a more bird's eye view of what it takes to actually go full time and make a living from your music, and the 2 proven paths that you can follow to get there, then click the video on the screen right now to check out the previous episode here in my Full-Time Musician Show podcast, and you'll get all that information there. Have a great day, keep creating, and I'll see you in a future episode.